British leaders are preparing for one last full day of campaigning before polls open. Today, Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn were forced to respond to some very public criticism. Live now to Laura Jays, who joins us from London. Laura, the PM has been accused of policing the death of, or politicising the death of one of the victims of the London Bridge attack.
Yeah, that's right. It happened about a week ago, and Jack Merritt was one of the victims of this London Bridge terror attack. His father was very critical of Boris Johnson at the time, and now he's given his first TV interview to British Sky News, revealing a couple of things actually, that his son Jack was actually knew the terrorist. He'd spoken with him, he'd tried to help him in the past, and that was the man that killed Jack. Secondly, Jack's father says that Boris Johnson did try to politicise his son's death, and since then, Number 10 hasn't even made contact with the family.
Instead of seeing a tragedy, Boris Johnson saw an opportunity, and he went on the offensive. He saw an opportunity to score some points in the election. He immediately said, "Oh, this is Labour's fault. They allowed this to happen. They had this early release policy and so on." And at that point, it was just, well, I had to say something.
Labor's had its own problems today as well on that side of the campaign. The Shadow Health Secretary has been caught on camera in a leaked audio tape saying that he doesn't believe that Labor can stave off a Tory majority, and it's largely due to Jeremy Corbyn's unpopularity.
If you're in sort of small town Midlands and North, it's abysmal out there. I mean, they don't like Johnson, but they can't stand Corbyn, and they think Labour's blocked Brexit. I think kind of middle-class graduates, sort of Remainy people, Labour's probably doing well, and sort of Lib Dems are probably doing well, but not in big enough numbers to deny the Tories a majority.
So a few headaches for both leaders, not insurmountable, but probably not what they want to be talking about in the second last day of campaigning. Preparations underway for the last full day of campaigning tomorrow. The weather is getting quite inclement here in London and also north, really across the whole of England. So will that affect voter turnout? That is the question. Boris Johnson had a bit of a, you might say, secret weapon up his sleeve this week, Pete. Everyone loves the movie Love Actually, especially at this time of year, and he's made his own version. I don't know if that's going to get people out to vote, Pete, but if you love the movie, that might just convince you. Who knows? And a little bit of information for you as well. That ad was done by the same advertising company that Scott Morrison used during our last general election back home. So there you go.
Yeah, I've got to say, Laura, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's cheesy. It's all of that. But I don't mind it. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's great. And look, more seriously, Boris Johnson has a bit of a women issue, according to the polls. I don't always believe these kinds of things, but if you've got a bit of an issue with women voters and it's a campaign in which you've got to get people out to vote because it's non-compulsory, perhaps that might help him just a little bit.
Yeah, and I actually don't mind the awkward thumbs up at the end too. I think it's a nice way to wrap it up.
It's all very Boris.
Good, yeah, it is indeed. Yeah, good one, Laura. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.